it's your turn though.
It is my turn.
You are going to talk about something incredible.
Well, yeah, that's you set me up.
What is it?
Well, so I will talk to you about, I guess, if you want to say it's incredible, it actually is one of the, oh boy, I can't really talk about it without using puns. One of the cooler things.
I see.
In this space.
Yeah.
That's terrible if you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to be talking about a fan.
It's going to blow us away here in a second.
Jeez. Yeah, boy. Dreo.
Yeah.
A brand that we've seen.
We like that brand.
Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
I've enjoyed a handful of products from them.
Yeah.
Air fry
something
from them.
Yes.
Or in one of their products.
Yep.
Multiple times a week.
Yeah.
This is the Dreo. This is called the Air Circulator fan.
Okay.
And the model number, and I guess they changed this after they had kind of like announced some of these products.
Uh-huh.
They kind of changed the branding around them.
Oh.
So this is the CF714S.
Okay.
I think they made it easier.
Yeah.
Than whatever it was called. It's a mouthful. So the Air Circulator fan.
Yes.
And this is one of those fans that is it is basically, it's the fan itself with a little bit of a rotating head that if you want to put this thing on the floor, on a table, a desk, it's about the size of those old school fans that you would have that would be like low, medium, high, and the oscillating button.
Right. Yeah.
And, those loud clicky buttons. And
yes.
This is all quiet.
Luke, I am your father.
Yes. Well, you can't, you know what? You can't really do that on this one.
I know.
It's a very interesting fan.
Is it?
And I love it.
It looks super cool.
So I think it was originally called like the Falcon S.
Okay.
So like the URL might redirect to it, but this is the one that I have is gold, and it's a smart fan.
Okay.
And that means you can use your phone to control this thing. There's a remote, but then there's also like these buttons across the bottom of it that are just kind of like, they're flush, capacitive little things that you can like tap. So you have 9 speeds on this thing. You have oscillation horizontal and vertical.
Okay.
So you can decide, hey, I just want this thing kind of like panning back and forth.
Vertical oscillation.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yes, and I'll tell you about a mode here that's actually even more interesting.
Okay.
So when you decide if I want to do this horizontal or vertical, you can choose various degrees.
Yeah.
So you can say, I just want it to kind of go 90 degrees back and forth between this area.
Okay.
Or you can like widen it up a little bit. And you can see kind of like, oh, this will go an extra 15 degrees in each direction.
Yeah.
So you can kind of like spray the room more or evenly distribute that. So depending on where you have it set up,
that's nice.
Everybody can feel the fan.
Right.
Same thing with the vertical. You can adjust that to moving different degrees. How much do you want it to go up and down? I just want to kind of like floating, a little bit of play, then you can do that. You can switch between of the 9 modes. There's also like a turbo, which kind of like really kicks it in the high gear.
Okay.
It's super, super quiet.
Yeah.
Yes. You can pair this thing with the your phone, of course, with the app. You can go in and see all of the things that are in there, or you can just use the remote, or you can, if you have a Google Assistant or Alexa, you can use your voice to control these things.
Oh, nice.
You just got to go in and basically add that to your home.
Right.
And so this thing has been sitting at home in our like common area, living room, dining room. And it's set on like auto. So sometimes it'll be at a 3 and then it might move up to a 4 or a 5. Like it'll automatically kind of adjust itself for the climate.
Interesting.
And it's a really nice breeze.
Yeah.
It's very consistent. It's very quiet, even at like the highest settings.
Nice.
One of the coolest things is this like natural mode,
Okay.
which essentially is like hitting random
Okay.
on the speed
Uh-huh.
and oscillation in all directions. So this thing just kind of like moves around and just kind of like might pick up,
Yeah.
might slow down. Sometimes it's moving up, down, kind of left. And it just kind of feels like if you're sitting in a room with windows open and a breeze comes in, it's not always the same breeze.
Sure.
Like you might feel that like, oh yeah, you really picked up for a second.
Huh.
It just feels that way. So
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty interesting.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, I like that mode
Yeah.
when I'm just kind of like chilling watching TV.
Sure.
But my wife doesn't love it. She feels like it's
inconsistent.
it's so sporadic
Sure.
that it's like, what's the point of having it on?
Distracting.
Yeah,
Sure.
like it'll just kick on. All of a sudden, you'll feel it, and then it goes away.
Mm-hmm.
I like it because it just kind of feels like
The windows are open. Sure.
Yeah, like the window's open.
Yeah.
Other than that, you can look at the fan and see the number kind of like on the little base.
Yes.
Like
it's not necessarily a screen. It almost looks
Mhm.
like it reads out the numbers on the casing of the device.
like
That's cool.
I don't know if you call that the neck.
Yeah. That sounds right.
Yeah. The whole thing is, it's essentially like putting just a fan somewhere without a big box around it,
Sure.
without having a big lunky base. You can pick this thing up and move it very easily. The gold is kind of like a rose gold.
Yeah, it's super it's designed very well. It looks cool.
Yeah. And I like the fact that I've got other Dreo products in my house, so
Yeah.
it's very easy to kind of add that,
Mhm.
and then just to say, good night, to my
Right,
smart, and
sure.
it'll just turn it off.
Yeah.
Or I can just say turn on the living room fan,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to program that to do. But
Mm-hmm.
it's nice, and it,
Nice.
it runs about 110, so it's not an impulse thing,
Mhm.
but I definitely recommend it.
Sure.
My wife loves it. My son will like to control it to where he can stop it wherever he happens to be sitting. Just hits the stop on the button, and now it's not oscillating. It's just blowing right on him, without kind of feeling like you're just using a generic fan.
Sure.
It
right.
feels like it's elevated.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And I think, the price reflects that, but with the features built into it, it seems like it's not asking too much.
No, I like being able to look at it and say, oh, it's set at a 3. Let's move it up. The remote doesn't really come out. It stays in one spot, but we've got another Dreo fan that has very similar, but it's on like a long kind of like neck.
Yeah.
Sits, I'm trying to think of the word for it there. I know it's escaping me, but it sits a couple feet up and points, and you can use it to essentially like at the foot of your bed or something.
Oh yeah, sure.
And you can kind of move the base around.
Yeah.
But we use our phones and our voice to control this thing.
Great.
So this is the time of year where you can have windows open without being stupid hot or cold.
Yep.
And a nice fan like you might start out with.
Yeah.
And that's another feature you can set on like a sleep mode so that it'll automatically kind of like gradually turn off as you go. So
nice.
Yeah. Dreo, model again is CF714S. But if you're looking online, you might also find it as the Falcon S. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast.
Thanks for listening.
We appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, feedback, concerns, comments, anything, shoot us an email at podcast@AndroidGuys.com. We'd love to hear from you one way or the other. Luke, if someone wants to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
I am on Instagram and Twitter at Luke Gaul, Gaul.
And I'm on Instagram at Scott Webster and Twitter as SWebster77. Until next time, thanks for listening.
See ya.